My name is Vivaan and today I will tell you about how the Aztecs were conquered by Hernán Cortés, the person who was a Spanish conquistador and claimed Mexico for Spain. Hernán Cortés, born in 1485, was a Spanish conquistador who conquered the Aztecs and claimed Mexico for Spain. He studied at a university before leaving to become an explorer. He started his exploring days by going to modern-day Santo Domingo and became a notary in Azua. He then went on an expedition with Velázquez in 1511 to Cuba. He became the mayor of Santiago over there. In 1518, he went on his own expedition to Mexico even though the trip was cancelled, and claimed Mexico for Spain. He died on December 2nd, 1547.
Hernán Cortés's most famous act was conquering the Aztec Empire and claiming Mexico as Spanish territory. In 1519, Hernán Cortés reached the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico with 500 soldiers. He came illegally from Cuba because his expedition was cancelled, but he still went. In 1521, the Aztecs first learned about the Spanish when a tax collector saw them in an Aztec tribe. Later, the Aztec king, Moctezuma II, found out about the Spanish and didn't want to go to war with them. His solution for the idea, after discussing with his advisors, was just please the Spanish with gifts. Hernán Cortés accepted these gifts, but did not let go of his plan to conquer the Aztecs. Hernán Cortés used these gifts and sent them to Spain with many letters asking the king for more soldiers and support. Hernán Cortés later burned all of his ships to make sure none of the soldiers escaped. To make the point clear, they had to conquer the Aztecs. Cortés made allies with two of the conquered Aztec tribes who were enemies of the Aztec. The tribes were called Tlaxclan and Totonac. Hernán Cortés later found out that the Aztecs were planning on attacking them and driving them out of their empire. After he heard this news, he went to an Aztec city called Cholula, where he killed multiple innocent citizens. A month later, he reached Tenochtitlan, with his mind focused on conquering it. Moctezuma II welcomed the Spanish into the city to make them feel more comfortable, while his army started to prepare. Despite the kind hospitality the king gave the Spanish, Hernán Cortés conquered the Aztecs non-violently and gave the king limited power. But the Spanish hadn't conquered them fully. Yet. Soon, Cortés learned that soldiers were coming from Cuba to arrest him for going to Mexico without permission. Hernán Cortés left Tenochtitlan and left his right-hand man, Pedro de Alvaro, in charge of it. He found the soldiers who came to arrest him and convinced them to help him conquer Tenochtitlan. While Hernán Cortés was returning to Tenochtitlan, Pedro had interrupted a religious Aztec ceremony and killed hundreds of Aztecs. One person who died that night was the Aztec king, but it was not sure whether his people or the Spanish killed him. The king's brother, Quetzalcoatl, took control of the Aztec empire and brutally and violently drove the Spanish out of their capital. Cortés retreated to Tlaxcala, where his army rested, and Hernán tried to figure out a new way to take control of the empire. A couple months later, Hernán Cortés tried to conquer the Aztecs again, and this time completely conquered the empire. How did he do it, you ask? Good question. He gave them a disease, smallpox. Smallpox did not exist in the Americas until the Europeans showed up. After the Aztecs had their interaction with the Spanish, they had been exposed to smallpox, which severely affected their population. Hernán Cortés built 13 ships to cross the lake into the city, and after many attacks, murders, robbing, and so much more, the Spanish won. On August 13th, 1521, Hernán Cortés declared the city of Tenochtitlan his. 3 years later, the colony of New Spain in modern-day Mexico was founded. The fall of the Aztecs was the fall of an advanced civilization. The Aztecs fought their battle and lost it, but they are still alive today, which is why we learn their magnificent stories.